Joining us now for reaction, Fox Business host Larry Kudlow. Larry, always great to see you, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's talk about this possible trip. Nancy Pelosi considering going over to Taiwan, and in this phone call today, President Xi saying if you play with fire, you get burned. That's not a warning to me. That's a threat. Your thoughts?
Well, it may be a threat, but we should not acknowledge that threat. Nancy Pelosi should go to Taiwan. We should be backing Taiwan to the hilt. We should be sending all manner of arms, Navy, Air Force, artillery, ground stuff, just to help Taiwan defend its freedom and its independence in the event of some kind of Communist Party of China invasion, which, apparently they are planning. So I applaud what Nancy Pelosi is doing. I think it's exactly right. And by the way, I think that I have no idea. Nobody knows what happened in this conference call. At least we haven't seen much on it. But this is no time to give China any concessions whatsoever. OK, these are the people who are buying up Russia's oil and financing Putin's war in Ukraine. These are the people who are not acknowledging, they are not abiding by the Phase 1 China tariff deal that was made several years ago. There's an important new study out by the Peterson Institute on that. Of course, there are human rights violations, there are democracy violations. I mean, we should not be giving any concessions. For the life of me, Jackie, I don't know why we gave 6 million barrels of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to China. I'm still trying to figure that out. So I wouldn't give them anything. You'll never get anything in return. It's a one-sided relationship, and I think Biden should be far, far tougher on the China question. Well,
and that's the question, right? Can he stand up to China? Because you look at his foreign policy so far, how he handled the withdrawal of Afghanistan, how he handled relations with Putin before Russia invaded Ukraine, how he's handled, Iran, the Middle East, his recent trip to Saudi Arabia. It doesn't seem to me like he's got the gumption to be able to stand up to President Xi the way somebody like Donald Trump did.
I mean, one other thing, I had Senator Portman on the show. Portman is looking at Chinese espionage and spying in the Federal Reserve System. And they've caught some people red-handed, but there's still some that they have not caught. There's some Fed research people that seem to be on the take from Communist China, giving them our models and various research information. This is part of the ongoing Chinese attempts, whether it's cyber hacking or direct spying or espionage or whatever it is, throughout American business, throughout American technology, and now we are reminded once again that they're going after the Federal Reserve System. It is absolutely incredible, and the Bidens should be much, much tougher on China.
To your point, Larry, we've got a soundbite from Congressman Mike Waltz. He's talking about how China's so ingrained in the United States. Let's listen to this. You can react on the other side.
They already dominate our pharmaceuticals, they dominate solar panels, and in this case, now it's our food supply. In addition to this land that they're buying up, they've also bought the nation's largest pork processing plant. They know that if they can win this economically, then they don't even have to worry about a military conflict. It's not just a jobs issue. It's a national security issue, and we've got to wake up as a country.
And we know that a Chinese government-linked company bought 300 acres of land just 20 minutes from Grand Forks Air Force Base in North Dakota, making huge real estate investments here as well, Larry. So, I mean, your point on the espionage, all of these other issues as well, China really is getting a footprint and kind of a hold on this country.
Well, I think these Chinese land grabs are very important that Mike Waltz mentioned. We had to deal with this in the Trump administration because they would have land, or they would have, before we booted Huawei out, they would use telephone poles and put cameras up on the telephone poles next to our military bases. So that's another example. I wouldn't let them buy land, to be perfectly honest. We did get rid of Huawei. That was a good thing. By the way, I would extend this to TikTok. Okay? TikTok takes all their user information and ships it over to Beijing. TikTok is an instrumentality. TikTok and ByteDance, their owner, is an instrumentality of the Chinese Communist Party. Make no mistake about that.
Yeah, no, I don't make any mistake about it. I just want to quickly ask you about tariffs. If the president backs away and removes some of the Trump self-imposed tariffs? How do you think that will impact relations? And you know, is that a worthwhile step for him at this point, or should he just leave well enough alone?
I think it'd be a terrible move on his part. Again, I don't want to see our government make any concessions to China whatsoever. All we are doing is rewarding bad behavior. They are our adversary, okay? And President Trump made that perfectly clear. The Bidens sometimes seem to understand that, other times they don't. As your reporter suggested, the tariff issue has nothing to do with inflation.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump administration put on about $365 billion worth of tariffs in order to bring them to the negotiating table to try to get reciprocal trade and stop all the IP theft and all the forced transfer of technology. That deal has not yet succeeded. But my point is, I wouldn't make any concessions whatsoever to China. The symbolism is wrong. The national security policy is wrong. And stop these land grabs. These land grab things are very important. They're happening all over the country. What Mike Waltz mentioned, this is a big thing, not a small thing.
I hear you, and everybody else does, loud and clear. Larry Kudlow, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Good to see you, sir.